Hello, everyone. My name is Igor Tomych, and today we are doing the weekly harvest. We are bringing you the news across the globe and discussing them from our opinion, how it influenced the market, or what are the future steps from those events.
Hello, Igor. I'm Dumitru Condrea, co-host of this weekly harvest review, and we're coming today, as usual, with three news from fintech and fin world also, and telling you what's happening around, because interesting things are happening currently. And I think the last 2 weeks, the main word was expansion.
And the news is that Visa is partnering with the UnionPay to support the cross-border money movement into mainland China. And as we all know, with the yuan and the movement from China to other countries, it's a big hassle because you cannot freely convert the local currency in China to other currencies and do the cross-border transfers. Even, the questions and the complexity of internet availability from China to other countries. And that's essential move ahead because it shows that Visa has an appetite to flow the money from other countries into the China and enable UnionPay to deliver a business case for the remittancy, travel-related spending, and cross-border commerce, which is interesting move.
Now we'll be able for Visa users, Visa card holders, to make card-to-card transfers, UnionPay cards. That was a problem. There are a lot of Visa and MasterCard cards running around China. Of course, UnionPay is a leader, no doubt. A lot of foreigners are coming for a day, for a week, for a month, or several months, living in China, making some tourism in China. And all the time there was this issue. So a lot of foreigners, and to be honest, the numbers of foreigners that are visiting or coming in China more than 1 week is a huge and immense number. So a lot of them were in a situation to find different solutions, local solutions. Not every time it was easy, a lot of fraud happening. And also this is a signal that China is requesting much more liquidity from outside. And this is why appeared this collaboration. Seems like UnionPay International, because it's a collaboration between UnionPay International and Visa, decided that this abundance can help them to get more liquidity. And of course, the prime reason is to help Visa users to send to UnionPay users card-to-card transfers and to do it very smoothly. So basically solving one of the biggest challenging cross-border payments around the world.
Having something that allows you to travel with the financial instruments through the Chinese firewall, it's really exciting one to see. Maybe one day we will see the transaction back from mainland China to other countries. But this step is already a huge success. And I think that's something that we will see through this year because the financial borders, they dissolving and people having much more usable instruments to serve you even while you're traveling abroad. That's the case for the Chinese or for the people who are traveling to China and using their funds directly.
And the most interesting thing that Chinese itself, they opened this great Chinese firewall, opened the gates at least a little bit. And it's interesting. So it proves that economy is so much global currently that cutting this into pieces, isolate them, it's quite a hard decision. And speaking about interesting markets and expansion, I know that we are speaking a lot about Revolut. It's not because we have a specific relationship with Revolut. We'll be happy to have such, but in any case, Revolut is an example for European market. And they have a lot of news happening. There are a lot of things that they're doing. This is why we're covering them a lot. So they are making a new step. They are entering on internet acquire B2B services for merchants in Australia. Means that they make a huge expansion, not only in Europe, but in Australia. Australia is a very interesting, and for those who are working in payments, they know that Australia is specific, and it's interesting market at the same time. Huge potential, a lot of merchants, a lot of businesses, small businesses are developing there, and the online presence of Australian merchants is quite a big one, and it's on online you can find a lot of Australian merchants, and entering that market, basically it's a first European company who, if I'm not wrong, who is entering an Australian market for B2B payments, is a signal that Revolut has big appetite, also risk appetite, because there's a lot of frauds happening everywhere, including Australia, but also they have appetite and the willingness and ability with capacity to develop new markets and to be omnipresent. Possibly they have some big plans worldwide, who knows, because previous episodes we were speaking about Revolut in the United States, now Revolut in Australia, and maybe it's the first step, they want to test the Australian market, who knows.
I'm always like the proper usage of the technology, because for acquiring, it requires you two things: the payment instrument and the customer who is willing to pay to the merchant. And the idea is it's pretty essential for Revolut, because having 80 million customers worldwide, it creates a huge base of the customers who having different financial instruments and using them differently. But jumping into the acquiring business means that you can actually drop down the fees for the merchant, because then you can access funds of your customers directly, just omitting the card networks. And that's something that I really like by using Revolut through the Wizz Air flights, because in this case, Wizz Air partnered with Revolut. You can have the acquiring happening directly on the flight. And actually, it's omitting the network, because it allows the merchant to get the funds faster. It allows better fees for the merchants, and maybe even some convenience for the customer. So I would love to see the evolution of those payment gateways, because we're living in a world where the card is not only one option. We are mentioning Revolut a lot because fairly just two banks with the same scale and same kind of evaluation as the neobanks. And the second one is NuBank. And today we're also doing a little bit of the updates for this bank. So can you tell us the last news about the NuBank?
Well, in the United States currently exists a trend to catch people, immigrants not only, on the streets and push them out from the United States, saying that these are immigrants, they're foreigners, and we don't want to see them. In the same time, NuBank, which is the biggest Brazilian bank, the biggest Latin America bank, with total revenue around 8 billion in 2023, I don't know, numbers 24 at least, they are entering the United States market. Entering means they secured initial approval to launch a United States bank in 2027. So they're entering on US operations. And it's interesting trend that not the United States companies fintech companies are going outside in Europe, in Brazil, in Australia, but vice versa. European-based, Latin America-based, even some super small cases from African banks are entering a United States market. Absolutely interesting, as to call, tremendous initiatives that are happening and interesting shifts that are happening on the market.
I really like these moments, and it shows the trend that being successful as a business doesn't mean come from United States or the West economies. And that's a good trend, because I think there should be the competition around the ideas and the perfection of the execution, which showed NuBank. They actually executed really well in home area as Brazil. They extended to Mexico, and it shows that they know how to do the things to serve the customers at scale. And it would be really good to see jumping into the United States market, which is really heavy lifting from the legislation point, but still it has a lot of improvements and ability to innovate for their customers. So I think it's great news. And I really like that we see those events coming in upcoming years, which shows that the market has a depth for evolution and it has the depth for the innovations.
Let's point out the fact that NuBank secured only initial approval. For us, those from European Union, we are used with a different path. It doesn't mean that they will launch currently. It doesn't mean that they will launch a bank in 2027. They just have approval to do this, but they still need till 2027 to close a lot of gaps, to solve some regulatory issues, and to be super compliant. It means that they have a green light to start the procedures. It doesn't mean that they have a green light to launch a bank. So basically and theoretically, they cannot go and say, hey, we have a bank in the United States currently. No, they still have a lot of work to do. So a lot of things can change and happen till that moment. But from another side, it proves and shows that American market is still open for investments. American market is still open for innovations, because by sure they'll come with innovations. At least they by sure will be very superior regarding cross-border transfers management. And by sure they'll come with a lot of interesting approaches that are working in Latin America and Mexico, in Colombia, in Brasilia, and they will have total different approach. Plus, they already have a market there. They have customers in the United States who know about this bank, who know about this brand, and for them it will be much easier to enter on this market.
Thank you today for joining and listening our news. We are looking forward to see you on other episodes. Please subscribe to our channel, please comment, and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, and leave all the time some comments and likes on LinkedIn and YouTube. We really appreciate it. Bye-bye.